So let's do some hands-on. What I'll do is that I'll create a new volume. I'll attach it to the EC2 instance. I'll format the volume and add some data. I'll do some modification. I'll try to decrease the size and I'll increase the size while the instance is running. I'll create a snapshot and restore a new volume from the snapshot and then attach the restored volume to another EC2 instance. And then we'll create an AMI from the EC2 instance. I think this step is not needed. We have already seen what AMI can do. Finally, we'll see some monitoring option. Okay, so I have this EC2 instance, 3 IAM appendix A1 EC2 instance 2 up and running, and it has two storages, volume 1 and volume 2. So what will I do is I'll delete this volume /dev/stv. Let me go ahead and delete this. So if I click on this volume ID, it will take me to the EBS volume option. And what am I doing? I'll be detaching this volume from the EC2 instance. So let me show you before the detach. If I type lsblk, I can see that there are two volumes, xvda of size 10 GB and xvdb of size 50 GB. So what will I do? I will detach this volume, select this volume in the EBS console or EBS page, and then click on actions and then detach volume. So the volume state is currently in use and it should be changed to available. So as you can see, the volume state is available. Now if I type lsblk in the EC2 instance, I should not be able to see xvdb. So see, this 50 GB volume is gone. I don't see it here. We only have xvda. And now let me go ahead and delete this volume. So click on this, click on actions and delete the volume. Alright, so this is done. So let me go ahead and create a volume and attach that volume to the EC2 instance. So click on create volume and I'll be using GP3 and let's say the size is 25 GB and IOPS would be let's say 1000, IOPS would be let's say 3000 only. Throughput is 125, that is fine. Now what should be the AZ? Should it be US East 1A? For that we'll have to check the EC2 instance. So we want to attach that particular EBS volume to this EC2 instance, which is 3 IAM appendix A1 EC2 instance 2. Now if I scroll to the right, this EC2 instance is in AZ US East 1B. So I'll have to create the volume in US East 1B only. And then click on create volume. So the volume has been created 25 GB. Let me go ahead and give it a name. 3 IAM appendix A1 EBS volume. So let me save it. So this is the volume that I have created of size 25 GB. And now what we'll have to do is that if you see the state is available. Now let me attach this volume to the EC2 instance that is up and running. Click on actions and then attach volume. And I want to attach it with the EC2 instance which is running. I can select a device name. So let me select SDD. And the moment we attach it to the EBS EC2 instance, the name would change to XVDD instead of SDD. So let me click on attach volume. So the status should be changed to in use. And now if I type lsblk again, I should see XVDD here of size 25 GB. So the volume has been attached. So this is how we attach and detach EBS volumes. So now what will I do is that I will format this volume. So now what am I doing is that I'm using this command sudo mkfs/t xfs and then the device type. So what I'm saying is that I'm formatting the files, formatting the device with the file system xfs. So it's done now. It has been created with xfs volume type, and if I see lsblk, there's no change here. But if you want to see the file format of this particular device, I can execute this command sudo file/s-s/dev/xvdd. It will tell me that the file system is xfs file system. Okay, now I'll install a program called xfsprog and which will be used to format the file system further. Now let me create a directory. So I'm in the home directory itself, and here I have AWS directory and this zip file. So let me create a directory named 3IAM EBS 1. So this directory has been created, and now I will be mounting that device which I have formatted with XFS file system with this particular directory, which is 3IAM EBS1. But before that, let me show you with the command dev-h. So if you see, dev xvda1 is mapped to a directory or a folder named slash. So if you do not have Linux background, it means that this particular device is mapped to the root folder. It is nothing but a folder, but slash is basically a root folder. But even though we have slash devs slash xvdd, it is not mapped to any folder. So that's what we are going to do now. So I'll be mapping this device with this file system, which or directory that I have created, which is 3iam underscore ebs1. And this is the command sudo mount name of the device. Now you can map it now because the device has been formatted with XFS type, and then I'm mounting it with this particular folder, and this folder or this directory is in slash home slash EC2 user directory. Now it is done now, and if I use dfh again, now as you can see, slash dev slash xvdd of size 25 GB is attached to this file system, and this file system is actually a directory, and this directory is in this particular directory slash home slash EC2 user. Don't worry too much about it. It's okay if you do not want to do the hands-on also, that's perfectly fine. Just see the video and understand the concept. That should be enough, I guess. Now what will I do is, let me get into 3IAM EBS1 and create a file. Now before doing anything, I'll have to change the permission also. So if you see the permission is of root, just follow along. Use this command sudo chon to 3IAMDB. Now 3IAM EBS1. So the owner has been changed. Now let me go inside of this directory and create an empty file, appendix1.ec2, and let me put some data in it. This is the only line. So now if I type more ap1 hyphen ec2, I should see this line. Let me add one more line, and this time I'll have to give double greater than because I want to append. So if I see a type more ap1 hyphen ec2, this is the first file, this is the file, and I can see that there are two lines. This is the data. So let me take a snapshot of this and then launch an EC2 instance with this particular snapshot. So how do you create snapshot? If we go ahead and go to this AMIs options, if you see images and AMIs, I have only one AMI now, but I can create a new AMI from this particular EC2 instance also. So if I create an AMI, it would contain the volume, root volume, and the additional volume also. So this is the additional volume that you see, EBS slash something something with 25 GB of size. But I'll not create an AMI, I'll create an EBS snapshot. So again, go to the volumes section in EBS, and this is the EBS volume that we are bothered about. Click on actions and then click on create snapshot. So 3IAM EBS snapshot 1, and I'll add a tag. I'll give it a name as 3IAM EBS SS1 create snapshot. So what it will do, it will go ahead and create a full snapshot because this is the first time that we are doing. So next time onwards, if we use if we create snapshot, that will be incremental snapshot. Now where can I see the snapshots? Again, in the EBS option, we have snapshots. Click on snapshot, and here if you see, this is the one, and it has been created. Now let me restore from this particular snapshot. Click on actions and then click on create volume from snapshot. We can also do that. And while creating the volume, we can either change the volume type. Let me increase the size to 30. And let's say the IOPS will be 3500, and let me change the throughput also. An availability zone has to be UAC East 1B because I want to attach this with another EC2 instance. Click on create volume. So now after this, a new volume would be created. Now if I click on volumes, so the one with 30 GB has been created from this particular snapshot. It tells you the snapshot ID also. Now it is an available state. Now what will I do is that let me just name it so that it is not confusing. Let's say volume 2, and let me attach it to the same EC2 instance. I do not want to launch a new one. So click on actions, click on attach volume, and then the EC2 instance that we have. And instead of SDD, which is already in use, let me give it SDU and click on attach volume. So let's see the state. The volume has been attached. And now if I type LSBLK, as you can see, we have XVDU here, which is 30 GB. Now let's try to do some modification of the EBS volumes. I'll select this one and click on actions and then modify volume. So click on modify, and what are the things that you can change? You can change the EBS volume type. It can be from GP3 to GP2 or to IO1 and IO2 or hard disk drives also. You can change the size also. Let me make it 50. We can increase it, but we cannot decrease it. So it says that when I type 15, it says the size of a volume can only be increased but not decreased. So throughput can be increased or decreased, but currently this is at its minimum. So we can increase it to, let's say, 3500. Same is the case with throughput also. By the way, this was IOPS. And then we can modify. So let's say from 25, I want to make the size to 35 and then click on modify. And I'm modifying the volume when it is attached to the EC2 instance itself. So if you see, it is saying that it is in use modifying, which is the first volume. I have three, this is the directory which is actually mapped to that particular volume. Now, even though the EC2 EBS volume is get in modifying state, let's see if we can make some changes. And I am actually changing the file. I'm adding some data, ap1-ec2, and the data got added. Sorry, the more command has to be more. So if you see, the data got added. So it means whenever we do some modification, the volume is still available for use. So that's all for EC2 and EBS, and these are the very basic services in AWS, and we need these services in almost all the other technologies that we use like EMR, Glue, etc. Thank you.